last item on conduct of business is item D, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to apply for federal funding to resurface various streets in the city of San Bruno.
Honorable Mayor, council members, good evening. Your prior direction to the staff was to seek very aggressively any outside funding for transportation, knowing the gap between the need and the available funding for road improvements in the city of San Bruno. Based on your prior direction, staff made a recommendation back in February for you to approve to execute a contract with Harris and Associates to help us to apply for the so-called Phase 2 stimulus package federal transportation funds. You approved our request to contract with the consultant to help us to apply for the federal grant. What I am here tonight to seek your approval this is a technical requirement of MTC grant application that the city acknowledged the fact that the federal funding will be a predetermined fixed dollar amount. Also that the city will comply with all of MTC process requirement, and also that the city will comply with all of the project-specific federal requirements. This, how I indicated, this is a technical requirement of the grant application. Since my presentation to you back in February, I don't have any new information. What you have included in the staff report is the prioritization of the eligible roads for federal funds and the methodology how staff made and established those priorities based on the road conditions, the pavement condition, and also the field survey. The only new information what I can offer you since the presentation back in February is the fact that based on follow-up discussion between MTC and CCAG, the decision was made by MTC that in the case of Phase 2 stimulus federal funding will not become available for transportation purposes, then MTC will use the normal federal Phase 1 transportation funds and will allocate using Measure A formula to each agency the federal fund for these eligible projects. That really will mean, in a sense, that if the federal fund will be approved and will be available, then maybe the city will have slightly higher dollar based on the best estimate today. Is this expectation is for the city of San Bruno for a total of $980,000. If this will not be approved by the Congress, then using Measure A formula from the normal Phase 1 federal transportation funding, the available funds will be around 700 maybe. But those are estimated dollars at this time. That's why it's our intent to put together a bid package, including more alternatives in our bid package, and with the recommendation, depending on the final funding and how those bids will come in, the department will come back for your approval for the award of the funding. If you have any question.
Any questions? Ken?
To the chair, this how much is the project for this year with the Measure A funds? That that's being proposed, that's already been approved?
For this year, using the Measure A funds already was implemented the project last year. Was left around 300,000 from Measure A funds, which wasn't implemented yet, and was our intent either to hold on and to combine with the next year resurfacing project, or depending how this federal fund will be approved, maybe to combine for other project in the same time.
Okay.
But certainly still you see the remaining around 300,000 Measure A resurfacing money, which wasn't allocated to any specific project.
Okay. Now, you have a project with $2.2 million in improvements, and if we get half of that, we're okay. So the other half of the project, does that fall into place, or does that it just gets reevaluated?
Wasn't our intent to combine those two, and the reason is that what you see here, this is a prioritization for the federal fund eligible roads, which has a very different prioritization versus the overall need in the city. And some of our not eligible roads are a higher priority for us, and that's why is our intent to come back with a recommendation for the prioritization of those funds, considering the overall need of the city and not just for federally eligible roads.
And the Measure A funds that we expend are more on our selection based on the condition of the road.
Correct, but I just want to make sure that I am not that I am clear enough and I am not confusing you. What I said that is the intent that MTC will allocate federal funds using the Measure A formula. That really means that the next fund which will become available still will be federal fund and will be able to use only just on these eligible roads. You say very different type of funds with Measure A, which still the city has 300 unallocated for this year.
City Parkway.
The City Parkway is actually phase 1 federal funds, and it is my hope and expectation that if you recall, you already awarded the contract for phase 1 federal fund resurfacing project. The only expectation now is for the weather to become better, and I am expecting that phase 1 will be implemented probably in June of this year.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Action?
I'll introduce the resolution.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Medina.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.